from Patchworks here, and today I'm going to be talking about the EYESY by Critter and Guitari. This is a really wonderful small video synthesizer slash visualizer. It kind of stands kind of in this nice ground where it has a lot of pre-made things for it. So when you get it, it already has a bunch of these what they call modes set up. So you got visuals right out the bag. On the side here, you can see that it actually comes with a Wi-Fi dongle, so you could actually go in and code your own visuals using Python and a library called Pygame remotely. So it's great for people who just want to add something to their setup to immediately get visuals, or for people who want to tinker around with generating their own visuals. It's very cool and simple. Essentially, we just got 5 knobs here on the front for 5 different parameters in our patch, a few buttons that go between the different modes, and then we also can run audio into this. So for this demo, I have the circuit rhythm set up because it's a nice small groove box. You know, I kind of imagine that people who get the EYESY are people who are wanting to either zhuzh up like a live performance or a live stream or a video, and you could run a whole mix through it, or you could just run one element. So right now I have a like one of the initial patches on the EYESY loaded up, and my audio is running over to the EYESY. So when I trigger the sound, you can see that the visuals will kind of jump around, and that's because it's doing kind of based on the patch envelope following and translating some of those waveforms over. I had to do a little bit of configuration here. If you hold down Shift on the EYESY, you see how it says input gain. I have it jacked up to 241%. That's because when I click this button, which shows me the diagnostics, I could kind of see what the input level is doing. So that's a good level. It's not quite triggering. If I want to manually trigger, I could hit this button, and that will kind of do different things again per patch. That's the beauty of this thing, though, is that we kind of don't need to know what's going on per patch. Like, you have very simple concepts like running audio into it. It's going to translate into something. If I trigger, it's going to translate into something. If I turn these knobs, you can see when I turn this knob here, it kind of changes how many lines are in the pattern. This knob is changing the complexity of the shape. I learned by playing it. I learned by discovering it. I'm not getting bogged down into, is this like sort of shader node running into another? I do visuals using Max, and there's a particular library I like called vSynth, and it's a very powerful library, but it probably took me months to get anything looking compelling. And a lot of times there's the sort of temptation to make things complex. But on the EYESY, again, since it's loaded with stuff, I'm just going to go through some of the presets here. You could just see that they're going to be very colorful, very simple geometry. You know, again, they're not doing much, but when I turn the knobs, I can kind of play it along with music, where I don't have music going. But once we get the music going, check this out. You can see now things are starting to move. Let's go back to that diagnostics page, and you can see that the input level is hitting that trigger. So on the kind of, it's picking up some beats. It's moving with the music already, and I could go through and kind of play the knobs. Very cool. This button up here, I like this button a lot, because what it does is freezes kind of the erase buffer, which means when I push it, you're going to see it traces a lot. So you're able to, especially when I play with the colors, you can see that it's kind of painting in the background, which is very cool. Change mode. Change mode again. So I'm going to stop the music because right now I want to go over a few other things. I'm going to take off the display on the front and erase the background. So that's what the visual looks like here. Now, when I go hit left and right here, these are going through the modes. Modes are different from scenes. These are my scene buttons. So if I like this color, I like this shape, this is something I want to recall. I really like purples. Yeah, yellow's great too. If I like this and I want to recall it, I just hold down this button here. I click that, and it saved it as a scene. Now let's go find another thing that we like. Okay, these are kind of looking cool. Let's make them bigger, maybe different color, change the background color, and hit save. So now we could go back and forth between those two. And you kind of see where I'm going here. It's like, in a performance, I may not just be going through a lot of these. A lot of these are just different, like that one's vertical, that one's horizontal. But when I'm playing around with this, I'll find kind of some nice, compelling, different setups. So let's just play with the knobs and get some new sort of patterns going. Okay, I like that. That one looks crazy. That one's really cool. But let me change the background color. So oftentimes, knob 5 will be your background color. So get something like that, save that, And oh man, these are all really cool. That's what I love about the IC is like they all kind of just look cool right out of the bat. So if you're just using it standalone, perfectly fine. If you want to composite it with analog video stuff, it has an analog output on the back. If you want to run into OBS and maybe key out the background to overlay on a stream, it's all set up for you to do that. And again, the immediacy of that and the performance sort of aspect of it can't be understated because, yeah, I love doing visuals, but I build a lot of things from the ground up, and sometimes it gets a little too busy or things aren't translating. This thing is meant just to completely translate. So let me get like 2 more modes on here. I like some of these weird geometric ones. Okay, something like that. And that one's fun, but cool. Change the background color. Sure, save. So now these are the patterns that we have. And now when we hit play, we can kind of just play around with those. Okay, on this one, see how much it's really, how wide it can get. Again, you can hold down shift and change the input gain. So now it isn't so intense. That's still pretty good, you know? And for this, I'm kind of just moving between the scenes and the modes. Because I love that. Once you get it locked in and it's actually overriding the buffer, you get really cool looking things. And again, just playing it with the music and it reacting, just very, very immediate, performance-oriented, just nice visuals. So definitely a big recommendation for me on this particular device. Kind of starts whetting your appetite for video synthesizers and visualizers. I haven't even covered going in and using Pygame to create the visuals. That's a whole new other aspect. And again, it's about playing with math and geometry, things that were may seem intimidating, but just like with synthesis, like you don't have to know the deep down details to actually have fun. So I hope you enjoyed my explanation of the IC. Let me know if you have any questions, and happy patching.